Next on Prime Time, protecting children from the dangers of cyberspace. That's the theme of the Safer Internet Week that's now being held in Russia. An estimated 12 million Russian children are now using the web, and most are unaware of the threat posed by paedophiles trawling chat rooms as well as networking sites.
Prime Time's Ivor Bennett found out why it is so important for parents to keep up with their technologically savvy children.
Try and think back to the first time you encountered the internet. It was a bewildering place, but the chances are that was some time ago now. The internet's changed unrecognizably since then. Social networking sites like Facebook, MySpace, VKontakte have revolutionized the way we interact. But with that come a whole new set of risks, especially for children encountering the internet for the first time. So how do we police that? Well, this week is Safer Internet Week in Russia, coinciding with Global Safer Internet Day, which falls on the 9th of February this year. The idea is to promote a safer and more responsible use of online technology for today's youth. So, for example, educating on the risks of child pornography, the threats of drug use, which is often promoted online, and educating about the threats of sites that promote violence.
Anyone can publish anything. So I'd say that may be one of the biggest risks for young people, knowing what is information, what is simply data that has no real value. The third risk, self-disclosure. Young people tend to say too much, to do too much, to give away too much information.
Speaking to the children at this school, it becomes very obvious just how important the internet is in their daily routines.
I try to use the internet every day to check email, VKontakte. I spend about 3 hours a day on it at weekends, but 1 hour on weekdays.
And Marina's not alone. Government statistics show that 50% of children in Russia spend up to 3 hours a day on the internet, and 9 out of 10 have access to online technology. But most of the time, parents aren't able to monitor what sites their children visit or what sort of things they upload. What's more, legislation here in Russia means policing the internet and making it safe for children to use is difficult.
The law should be improved. We should be fighting against child pornography in the legislative area. Russia hasn't ratified 2 fundamental conventions of the Council of Europe yet. The conventions coordinate the fight against human trafficking, including child pornography. I have no idea why our country hasn't joined these conventions.
As of June last year, 32% of Russia's population was online, and that's growing all the time in one of the fastest growing internet populations in the world. Now, whilst there is room for improvement regarding the legislation in particular, Russia is very serious about Safer Internet Week so that children can go about their online business safely.
And to discuss this, we've invited Urvan Parfentiev, coordinator of Safer Internet Center. Thanks very much for coming. First off, a very basic question. How can one make, a lot of people, how can we make the internet safer?
To make internet safer, especially for children, I think that firstly many people must decide that they really want to make this sphere like internet safer for children. So of course the things that are dealing with internet must be based on self-regulation. So that must be a way of cooperation of society, of government authority, including law enforcement, and of course internet industry, in order to give people good information and means of protection, then to be able to effectively combat illegal content, and to give advice, help and consultation for those who want to protect themselves better and who became victims of illegal actions in the internet.
What about parents? What can they do to protect their children, either what they can do directly or how they can educate their children?
I think the main thing is to establish trust between parents and children in order for them to study internet together. So there are many useful literature that may help parents and children to study the internet and the means how to make internet safer together.
What currently happens? Some websites that might be found dangerous, are they being monitored and then shut down, or is there a system that works in that direction?
In 31 countries of Europe, North America, and now also in Russia, there are hotlines that are members of the international group of hotlines in HOPE. any user of the internet who finds illegal content can report anonymously illegal content to this hotline, in its country, and then, if, for example, the content is being hosted in another country, this hotline will check information and will pass it to the partner hotline in the appropriate country, and this content will be probably closed.
And just to outline, what would that illegal content be? Would it be pornography or anything else possible?
Mostly, of course, this is the scenes of child sexual abuse. And other things are violence against children, different kinds of xenophobia like racism, nationalism, terrorist propaganda, propaganda of drugs and drug usage, and also cyberbullying that proves to be growing and really dangerous thing for the children on the internet.
I would imagine that the biggest availability of inappropriate material would be pornography, and children are very savvy with the internet these days. What kind of damaging effect can it have on very young children to see things that normally adults would encounter first?
I think that the most dangerous threat for children on the internet is maybe not child pornography but cyberbullying, because cyberbullying is the thing that makes vulnerable almost every child who uses the internet. He can be bullied by his classmates or, for example, by any young user of the internet from any country.
I would imagine those would be comments that are left in certain social networks, and these things stay, and then other people can also see them, and it's just all offensive for the psychology.
That includes also comment in social networking. That may include comments by ICQ, in chats, in personal websites of children. Sometimes there are even SMS attacks. Happy slapping effect when, for example, violence is being filmed and put on the internet in order everyone to see that.
So that comes back to being careful about how much of your personal information, contact details you give out, so that people can actually contact you with this.
This is also a problem because very often kids on the internet provide their personal information to the stranger, and they don't know who the stranger is actually. For example, EU Kids Online survey, which is being held in 25 countries of the European Union, shows that in average about 70% of children who use the internet can give their personal data to a stranger.
Well, thank you very much for coming over and talking to us about the internet. Obviously, we can't live with it in the 21st century, but we should be very careful about it. We were joined by Urvant Parfintiev, coordinator of Safer Internet Center.
Thank you.